Good morning. Thank you for joining me today. This morning we'll be in Deuteronomy chapter 28, verses 1 through 68. This is following the curses at Mount Ebal, the blessings at Gerizim. If you indeed obey the Lord your God, and are careful to observe all his commandments I am giving you today, the Lord your God will elevate you above all the nations of the earth. All these blessings will come to you in abundance if you obey the Lord your God. You will be blessed in the city and blessed in the field. Your children will be blessed, as well as the produce of your soil, the offspring of your livestock, the calves of your herds, and the lambs of your flocks. Your basket and your mixing bowl will be blessed. You will be blessed when you come in, and blessed when you go out. The Lord will cause your enemies who attack you to be struck down before you. They will attack you from one direction, but flee from you in 7 different directions. The Lord will decree blessing for you with respect to your barns, and in everything you do. Yes, he will bless you in the land he is giving you. The Lord will designate you as his holy people, just as he promised you, if you keep his commandments and obey him. Then all the peoples of the earth will see that you belong to the Lord, and they will respect you. The Lord will greatly multiply your children, the offspring of your livestock, and the produce of your soil, in the land which he promised your ancestors he would give you. The Lord will open for you his good treasure house, the heavens, to give you rain for the land in its season, and to bless all you do. You will lend to many nations, but you will not borrow from any. The Lord will make you the head and not the tail, and you will always end up at the top and not at the bottom, if you obey his commandments, which I am urging you today to be careful to do. But you must not turn away from all the commandments I am giving you today to either the right or the left, nor pursue other gods and worship them. But if you ignore the Lord your God and are not careful to keep all his commandments and statutes I am giving you today, then all these curses will come upon you in full force. You will be cursed in the city and cursed in the field. Your basket and your mixing bowl will be cursed. Your children will be cursed, as well as the produce of your soil, the calves of your herds, the lambs of your flocks. You will be cursed when you come in and cursed when you go out. The Lord will send on you a curse, confusing you and opposing you in everything you undertake, until you are destroyed and quickly perish, because of the evil of your deeds, in that you have forsaken me. The Lord will plague you with deadly disease until he has completely removed you from the land you are about to possess. He will afflict you with weakness, fever, inflammation, infection, sword, blight, and mildew. These will attack you until you perish. The sky above your heads will be bronze, and the earth beneath you iron. The Lord will make the rain of your land powder and dust. It will come down on you from the sky until you are destroyed. The Lord will allow you to be struck down before your enemies. You will attack them from one direction, but flee from them in 7 directions, and will become an object of terror to all the kingdoms of the earth. Your carcasses will be food for every bird of the sky and wild animal of the earth, and there will be no one to chase them off. The Lord will afflict you with the boils of Egypt, and with tumors, eczema, and scabies, all of which cannot be healed. The Lord will also subject you to madness, blindness, and confusion of mind. You will feel your way along at noon, like the blind person does in darkness, and you will not succeed in anything you do. You will be constantly oppressed and continually robbed, with no one to save you. You will be engaged to a woman, and another man will rape her. You will build a house, but not live in it. You will plant a vineyard, but not even begin to use it. Your ox will be slaughtered before your very eyes, but you will not eat of it. Your donkey will be stolen from you as you watch, and will not be returned to you. Your flock of sheep will be given to your enemies, and there will be no one to save you. Your sons and daughters will be given to another people while you look on in vain all day, and you will be powerless to do anything about it. As for the produce of your land and all your labor, a people you do not know will consume it, and you will be nothing but oppressed and crushed for the rest of your lives. You will go insane from seeing all this. The Lord will afflict you in your knees and on your legs with painful incurable boils from the soles of your feet to the top of your head. The Lord will force you and your king, whom you will appoint over you, to go away to a people whom you and your ancestors have not known, and you will serve other gods of wood and stone there. You will become an occasion of horror, a proverb, and an object of ridicule to all the peoples to whom the Lord will drive you. You will take much seed to the field, but gather little harvest, because locusts will consume it. You will plant vineyards and cultivate them, but you will not drink wine or gather in grapes, because worms will eat them. You will have olive trees throughout your territory, but you will not anoint yourself with olive oil, because the olives will drop off the trees while still unripe. You will bear sons and daughters, but not keep them, because they will be taken into captivity. Whirring locusts will take over every tree and all the produce of your soil. The foreigners who reside among you will become higher and higher over you, and you will become lower and lower. They will lend to you, but you will not lend to them. They will become the head, and you will become the tail. All these curses will fall on you, pursuing and overtaking you until you are destroyed, because you would not obey the Lord your God by keeping his commandments and statutes that he has given you. These curses will be a perpetual sign and wonder with reference to you and your descendants, because you have not served the Lord your God joyfully and wholeheartedly with the abundance of everything you have. Instead, in hunger, thirst, nakedness, and poverty, you will serve your enemies, whom the Lord will send against you. They will place an iron yoke on your neck until they have destroyed you. The Lord will raise up a distant nation against you, one from the other side of the earth, as the eagle flies, a nation whose language you will not understand, a nation of stern appearance that will have no regard for the elderly or pity for the young. They will devour offspring of your livestock and the produce of your soil until you are destroyed. They will not leave you with any grain, new wine, olive oil, calves of your herds, or lambs of your flocks until they have destroyed you. They will besiege all your villages until all of your high and fortified walls collapse, those in which you put your confidence throughout the land. They will besiege all your villages throughout the land the Lord your God has given you. You will then eat your own offspring, the flesh of the sons and daughters the Lord your God has given you, because of the severity of the siege by which your enemies will constrict you. The man among you who is by nature tender and sensitive will turn against his brother, his beloved wife, and his remaining children. He will withhold from all of them his children's flesh that he is eating, since there is nothing else left, because of the severity of the siege, by which your enemies will constrict you in your villages. Likewise, the most tender and delicate of your women, who would never think of putting even the sole of her foot on the ground because of her daintiness, will turn against her beloved husband, her sons and daughters, and will secretly eat her afterbirth and her newborn children, since she has nothing else, because of the severity of the siege by which your enemies will constrict you in your villages. If you refuse to obey all the words of this law, the things written in this scroll, and refuse to fear this glorious and awesome name, the Lord your God, then the Lord will increase your punishments, and those of your descendants, great and long-lasting afflictions, and severe, enduring illnesses. He will inflict you with all the diseases of Egypt that you dreaded, and they will persistently afflict you. Moreover, the Lord will bring upon you every kind of sickness and plague, not mentioned in the scroll of commandments, until you have perished. There will be very few of you left, though at one time you were as numerous as the stars in the sky, because you will have disobeyed the Lord your God. This is what will happen. Just as the Lord delighted to do good for you and make you numerous, he will take delight in destroying and decimating you. You will be uprooted from the land you are about to possess. The Lord will scatter you among all nations, from one end of the earth to the other. There you will worship other gods that neither you nor your ancestors have known, gods of wood and stone. Among those nations you will have no rest, nor will there be a place of peaceful rest for the soles of your feet, for there the Lord will give you an anxious heart, failing eyesight, and a spirit of despair. Your life will hang in doubt before you. You will be terrified by night and day, and will have no certainty of surviving from one day to the next. In the morning you will say, if only it were evening. And in the evening you will say, I wish it were morning, because of the things you will fear and the things you will see. Then the Lord will make you return to Egypt by ship, over a route I said to you that you would never see again. There you will sell yourselves to your enemies as male and female slaves, but no one will buy you. Whew. Yeah. The blessings for obedience are great, but so too the curses for disobedience. Yeah. In him we live and move and have our being. God is ultimately the sustainer of everything that we know and love, and holds our reality together. When we cling to him, when we obey him, we're clinging to the source of our being. When we reject him and go away from him, we're rejecting the very source of our being and embracing dissolution. And I think this is played out very analogously, in that when Israel would obey the Lord, things would go well for them. When they would disobey the Lord, things would go bad for them. If you diligently obey the voice of the Lord, the word if looms large in this chapter. Moses exhorted the nation with choice. The covenant God made with Israel contained three major features: the law, the sacrifice, and the choice. The idea behind the choice is that God was determined to reveal himself to the world through Israel. He would do this either by making them so blessed that the world would know that only God could have blessed them, or by making them so cursed that only God could have cursed them and caused them to still survive. The choice was up to Israel. As a literary form, this chapter is similar to ancient treaties between a king and his people. This is God the king making a covenant with his people Israel. In the ancient Near East, it was customary for legal treaties to conclude with passages containing blessings upon those who observed the enactments and curses upon those who did not. That the Lord your God will set you high above all the nations of the earth. Therefore, if Israel would obey the Lord, he would set them high above all nations of the earth, and the blessings would be so powerful that they would come upon you and overtake you. They wouldn't be able to escape the blessings. Yeah. Watch out, you're getting tangled in wires, you. Blessed shall you be. An obedient Israel would be blessed everywhere, in the city and the country, when you come in, when you go out. An obedient Israel would be blessed in their homes and in their farms and in their kitchens. They shall come out against you one way and flee before you 7 ways. An obedient Israel would be blessed in warfare. This degree of blessing speaks of a clearly divine blessing. The Lord will establish you as a holy people to himself. Perhaps the best blessing had to do with Israel's own relationship with God. God would separate an obedient Israel into himself, speaking of a special relationship. If not for this, all the material blessings described previously would be empty. All the peoples of the earth shall see that you are called by the name of the Lord. The Lord will make you the head and not the tail. You shall be above only and not beneath. God's purpose in blessing Israel was greater than just enriching the nation for its own sake. He intended to glorify himself through blessing them. When Israel walked after the Lord, these blessings were real. One example of this is when the Queen of Sheba came to Solomon and saw a nation so blessed, she knew it had to be of God. But if you do not obey the voice of the Lord, the covenant's aspect of the choice was a sword with 2 edges. Obedience would carry great blessing, but disobedience would carry terrible curse. All these curses will come upon you and overtake you. Like the blessings for an obedient Israel, the curses for a disobedient Israel would be inevitable. All these curses. The rest of the chapter is almost overwhelming. Actually, a logical analysis of this chapter is almost impossible, since the final aim was not to be logical, but to build up a vivid impression by presenting picture after picture until the hearer could see and feel the import of the preacher's words. From Thompson. Yeah, and certainly effective in that. In the city, in the country, when you come in, when you go out, a disobedient Israel would be cursed everywhere. The fruit of your body, the produce of your ground, and the increase of your herds. Cursed shall be your basket and your kneading bowl. A disobedient Israel would be cursed in their homes, their farms, and in their kitchens. Plague, consumption, fever, boils of Egypt, the scab, the itch, madness, and blindness, and confusion of heart. A disobedient Israel would be cursed in their health. Your heavens shall be bronze. The Lord will change the rain of your land to powder and dust. A disobedient Israel would be cursed in their weather, to be defeated before your enemies. A disobedient Israel would be cursed in warfare. Betroth a wife, but another man shall lie with her. A disobedient Israel would be cursed by simple, terrible injustices and tragedies. All of these tragedies would bring a terrible result. You shall be driven mad because of the sight which your eyes see. The Lord will bring a nation against you from afar. A disobedient Israel would be attacked and conquered by a nation of fierce countenance, and they would fight until they have destroyed you. And you shall eat the fruit of your own body. This became horribly true in the days of the latter kingdom. 2 Kings chapter 6, verses 24 through 30, describes a famine so severe in a besieged Israelite city that there was a fight between two women over eating their children. A terrible fulfillment of the promise. He will not give any of their flesh of his children whom he will eat. Lamentations 4, 1 through 11 vividly describes the horrors of the siege of Jerusalem. Rejection of God is embracing madness. The Lord will scatter you among all the peoples, from one end of the earth to the other. In the end, Israel would be dispersed. We find that because of their disobedience, these curses became the history of the nation of Israel. Of course, many of these horrible curses upon a disobedient Israel were fulfilled in the years of history recorded in the Old Testament, but their fulfillment did not end with the end of biblical history, Old or New Testament. For example, around 68 AD, the Romans finally had enough of the rebellious Jews in the province of Judea, so they laid siege to Jerusalem. At the time, the Jews fervently expected the coming of the Messiah to save them and conquer the Romans, based on God's promise to destroy the armies laying siege to Jerusalem in Zechariah 12, 1 through 9. Sadly, the Jews of that time refused to fulfill Zechariah 12:10, which described their humble, repentant embrace of a pierced Messiah. And I will pour upon the house of David and upon the inhabitants of Jerusalem, the spirit of grace and of supplications. And they shall look upon me whom they have pierced, and they shall mourn for him as one mourns for his only son, and shall be in bitterness for him, as one that is in bitterness for his firstborn. Nevertheless, the Jews of that day were so confident of Messiah's coming that their factions actually fought each other and burned each other's food, trying to be the most powerful group when the Messiah came. According to Josephus, it was as though they were purposefully serving the Romans by destroying what the city had provided against a siege and severing the sinews of their own strength. Through famine, the city certainly fell, a fate which would have been practically impossible had they not prepared the way for it themselves. When the Roman general Vespasian came to Jerusalem, the Jewish factions were busy fighting each other. His staff urged him to attack immediately, but he knew that an attack would instantly unite the Jews, so he held back and let them destroy each other for as long as possible. He said that God was a better general than he, and he was delivering the Jews into the hands of the Romans. Before Jerusalem was attacked, Vespasian became emperor, and he put his son Titus in charge of the attack. In contrast, Christians in Jerusalem heeded the words of Jesus in Luke 21, 20 through 24, in which he told people to flee Jerusalem when it was surrounded by armies, because the days of vengeance were at hand. In this siege of Jerusalem, hunger became so great that many tried to escape the walls and forage for food. 500 or more were captured and crucified daily. The soldiers, out of rage and hatred, amused themselves by nailing their prisoners in different postures, and so great was their numbers that space could not be found for the crosses, nor crosses for the bodies. More than 600,000 died from starvation, and their dead bodies were dumped over the walls of the city. In total, more than 1 million died, and 97,000 were captured, with most of the captives being shipped as slaves to Egypt. The promise of Deuteronomy 28:68 was tragically fulfilled. You shall be offered for sale to your enemies as male and female slaves, but no one will buy you. This happened as too many Jewish slaves glutted the Egyptian slave market, and no one could buy all the available slaves. After the conquest, the Jews still living in Judea were continually subjugated and humiliated by the Romans. The Romans continued to collect the temple tax from the Jews, even though their temple had been completely destroyed. So the Romans took the temple tax and used it to support their pagan temples. After some years of this, the Jews of Judea rebelled against the Romans again in 132 AD, with a man named Bar Kokhba leading the fight. He was proclaimed Messiah by the rabbis who supported the revolt, but after the Bar Kokhba rebellion, Rome finally and utterly crushed the Jewish population of Judea. Josephus said that as a result of the many battles, the once beautiful land was destroyed, and that it could not even be recognized. But the curse for Israel had not ended. Now, tragically, the church and Christians turned on the Jews. It was as if the branches of the tree attacked their own root. As the church gained in political power and became the official religion of the Roman Empire, the church decided to attack the Jews. They did this in part as retribution for the distant early years of Jewish persecution of the Christians. It was also because the current Jewish rejection of Jesus as Messiah was thought so offensive. But the greatest motivation was a bizarre evangelistic strategy. Christians thought the Jews are cursed because they have killed their Messiah. The curses are meant to turn the heart of the nation back to God. We will help God by being his instrument to curse the Jewish people. Oh boy. From Adam Clark, they have, it is true, grievously sinned, but, O you Christians, have they not grievously suffered for it? Is not the stroke of God heavy enough upon them? Do not then, by any unkind treatment or cruel oppression, increase their miseries. They are, above all others, the men who have seen affliction by the stroke of his rod. Gloriously, the curse was not, and is not, the end of God's plan for the Jewish people. As Ezekiel 37 describes, God will, and has begun to revive the Jewish people as back from the dead, and prepare them to be used in these last days. God is not done with Israel, and the curse will not be their final legacy. Yeah. Yeah. And it's not for us as Christians to curse people, but to love them and bless them, to look out for their best, and pray for people. You shall become an astonishment, a proverb and a byword among all nations where the Lord will drive you. Even as with the blessings, God's purpose in cursing Israel would be greater than just immediately punishing them for their sin. It was to be a witness to the nations. God would do this for his glory, and because it would glorify him, it can even be said that he would rejoice in the work. For though he doth not delight in the death of a sinner in itself, yet he doth doubtless delight in the glorifying of his justice upon incorrigible sinners, seeing the exercise of all his attributes must needs please him, else he were not perfectly happy. From Poole. Yeah. And you can see that as you go throughout the Old Testament, from the beginning of Israel's history as a nation to the period of subjection and invasion by the Babylonians and the period of captivity there, you can see this trend of when they obey the Lord, things go well for them. When they disobey the Lord, things go poorly for them. And correspondent to the amount that they reject the Lord, so too does he send prophets to them to encourage them back. But so too does he say, I'm no longer looking out to bless you, but instead to curse you. Yeah. From Matthew Henry. God is slow to anger, but swift to show mercy. He has said it and sworn that he would much rather we would obey and live than sin and die. It is his delight to bless. Yeah. Elsewhere it says, "Do I take any delight in the death of the wicked? Rather, that the wicked man should turn from his wicked way and live." Yeah. It is no purpose to attempt escaping the curses. They shall follow thee wheresoever thou goest, and seize thee, overtake thee, and overcome thee. Yeah. Our actions aren't hidden from God. He can see everything that we do and every thought that we have. The Lord shall smite thee with madness and blindness, that they should be infatuated in all their counsels, so as not to discern their own interest, nor bring anything to pass for the public good. They are so in love with the evil that they've chosen that rather than see that they're destroying themselves, they bullheadedly rush into counsel that ends up in their own destruction. Yeah. God's judgments can reach the minds of men to fill them with darkness and horror, as well as their bodies and estates, and those are the sorest of all judgments, which make men a terror to themselves and their own destroyers. Yeah. That which they contrived to secure themselves by should still turn to their prejudice. Yeah, so it's quite the paradigm in that we think that we can become like God, essentially, by choosing for ourselves what's right and wrong and establishing our kingdoms forever. But ultimately, our lives are just a breath. We're made of matter, perishable matter at that. And apart from God, what we do won't last. Matthew Henry also notes the analogies between the destruction of Israel here with like Babylon, and also with Jesus saying regarding the destruction of the nation. In the close, God threatens to leave them as he found them. In a house of bondage, the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again. Yeah, he's just bringing them back to where they came from. That is, into such a miserable state as they were in when they were slaves to the Egyptians, and ruled by them with rigor. God had brought them out of Egypt, and he said, "They shall see it no more again." But now they should be reduced to the same state of slavery that they had been in there. To be sold to strangers would be bad enough, but much worse to be sold to their enemies. Even slaves may be valued as such, but a Jew should have so ill a name, for all that is base, that when he was exposed to sale, no man would buy him, which would make his master that had him to sell the more severe with him. 30 Jews, they say, have been sold for one small piece of money, as they sold our Savior for 30 pieces. Upon the whole matter, the accomplishment of these predictions upon the Jewish nation shows that Moses spoke by the Spirit of God, who certainly foresees the ruin of sinners, and gives them warning of it, that they may prevent it by a true and timely repentance, or else be left inexcusable, in that they were duly warned of the impending doom if they continue in their current course of action. Let us all hence learn to stand in awe, and not to sin, I have heard of a wicked man who, upon reading the threatenings of this chapter, was so enraged that he tore the leaf out of the Bible, as Jehoiakim cut Jeremiah's roll. But to what purpose is it to deface a copy, while the original remains upon record in the divine councils, by which it is unalterably determined that the wages of sin is death, whether men will hear or whether they will forbear? Yeah. Ultimately, it comes down to, is this true or not? It doesn't matter if we like it or not. We can not like gravity, but that doesn't mean it ceases to exist. But if there's a God in heaven, and if he's given this counsel to us, then it stands binding. And we would do well to observe it. Anywho, thank you so much for joining me today. Hope you have a great day. Bye.